Hi letterers, it's Margaret from the Lettering Lodge. I hope you guys enjoyed my last video where I hand lettered the project that said all I need is coffee and mascara. So today I wanted to do another video of my process, and I wanted to create a lettering project that says good coffee makes everything better. So you might be sensing a theme. I love my coffee. So I'm going to create my canvas here, and I'm going to come in, tap square. I tend to do square a lot. I like how they turn out. And I want to sketch my art first to see how the layout's going to be, things like that. I'm going to go into my sketching, choose my technical pencil, and I'm just going to get going. I want my, let's see, good coffee makes everything better. I want coffee to be in the banner again, but I am going to do the banner differently. Instead of doing it curved like this, I'm going to do a banner that's kind of pointing downwards. Something like this, but maybe not quite as curvy. Something like that. So then I want my good to be up here in block letters, I think. And then my O's will have to be a little bit smaller. I think that's going to turn out. I'm going to do coffee in brush script in here. And this is super rough, guys, I know. It's the sketch. And I think I want better in block letters as well. This might take a little bit, but hopefully I think the finished project will be really good. Oh, that was a little rough, even for a sketch. And my dogs are barking in the background. Jasmine, you guys stop that. Go lay down. And I think better, I did that a little bit too wide. I'm going to need a tiny bit more space for my R here. And maybe a little too tall since I have two other words to fit. That's the beauty of lettering on your iPad, is that you have lots of redoing and undoing. Okay, so then I want makes. I think I want makes to be in all caps and kind of following this curve here. And then everything. Maybe I'll do everything in script again. I think I did it too big, but you guys get the point. Okay, and then this space will probably be filled in by my ribbon banners. So I think that's going to be good. I'm going to turn my opacity down by going to adjustments up here and turning that almost all the way down. I don't want it to distract me. I just want to use it as a reference on my future layers. So I'm going to go in and choose my mono weight brush. I'm using my Rad and Happy. That's what I used in my last video too. I'll link it in the description below. And I like my banners to be kind of thick. So I have my brush size up pretty high over here. Let's see, what was that? About 55% or so. And so I'm just going to try to create my banners. And I do like to, let's see, I like that, but one side is lower than the other. Let me just see if I can fix that by making this one a little bit longer there. Okay, and then I do need to move it over. Do you see how it's not centered? I can just move it over, just like that. And then while it's selected, with my arrow up here, oh goodness. While it's selected, I can do a 3-finger swipe down, copy and paste, and then just bring it straight down, and I'll have a perfectly parallel. I don't know if you call it parallel when they're curved lines, but you guys get the point. And I think the only thing I need to do is that I don't have much room for my ribbon endings, so I am going to go ahead and just erase just a little bit off each side. Oh, that's because I haven't merged my layers. I need to merge those two layers, and I can erase a little bit off each side, and then I'll have more room for my ribbon endings. So I'm going to go ahead and finish making my banner. Something like that. And I can close this off now. That's super shaky. I've only had coffee today, guys. So my blood sugar might be a little low, but I'm okay. All right. I'm going to use my eraser right there to clean up. Sometimes when your lines get too edgy, you can come in here and just decrease the size of your eraser, and that can help get less harsh points. Okay, so I'm going to create my ribbon endings now. Come off of here. I'm using that straight line feature where you can just hold your line. I'm going to, not on these because these are curved, but on, is that too low? Yeah, I think that's too low. Let's see, more like that. Where you can just draw your line, hold, and it'll create that straight line, perfectly straight. Quick line, that's what it's called. Okay. That banner could be better, but it's the general idea. So then I'm going to come in with my brush, and I'm going to try to do the word coffee. I'm going to do this on the new layer, and check the size. Yeah, that looks about right. I can redo and undo as many times as I want because I'm on an iPad and not on paper. So I can really get it looking the way I want it to. I think I need to curve my lettering just a little bit more. That wasn't bad, but I do want to follow the curve of the something like that. Okay, so I'm going to come in here. I can, for block lettering, I really like, especially if I'm really going to take my time on it, which I might not today just for the sake of the video, but I like to go in here to textures and grid. I am on a new layer, and so then you can create a grid to help you make sure you letter on a new layer again to help you make your block lettering turn out really well. I'm going to go back to my mono weight brush now, and I'm going to start, let's see, I think I want that to be the height of my letter, maybe one down. And I want my size to go down just a little bit, and I'm going to start my block lettering. And then I don't think I've showed you guys this yet. You can spend your time coloring this in with the streamline up. It's kind of hard. Or, as long as you're on that same layer and everything's enclosed, you can drag from the corner, whatever color you have, and just fill it in that way. Yeah. So I'm going to erase my guide there. I'm going to come over here and do the letter D next because I want it to be the same height as my G. Creating that quick line. And I'm paying attention to my spacing between here and here. I want it to look about the same. Let's see. I think I want that to be just a little bit fatter. So I can select it using my selection tool, draw around it, use the arrow to widen it just a little bit, and then I think that moved it over a little bit, so I can use my selection tool to get it again, and then this time just anywhere on the screen with your Apple Pencil you can move it over. So then I need to create the inside of my D. I think I need it to come out more like that. Yeah. And then do I need it fatter? I need it fatter. Some letters are easier than others in block lettering. And for whatever reason, even though D seems like it would be easier, it sometimes gives me trouble. So we're just going to go with that. And start with my O's. O's are also tough because they are round. It's hard to do round, but if you go in here, I think I showed y'all this in my last video, go to airbrushing, hard brush, and then if you'll need to adjust your size a little bit bigger, something like that. And I want to do this on a new layer. I don't know why one of them is darker than the other, but it doesn't really matter. It's my guide anyway, and I'm going to change my opacity down so that it's just there to help me. And back on that layer with my G and my D, I'm going to come in here and try to trace that as well as I can. Sometimes I find circles, I have to go back to my mono brush though. Sometimes I find circles easier when I increase the size a lot, and then sometimes it's easier when it's smaller. So, just depends on the day, it depends on you. Just go for it and see. Oh, that was not good. See how it works for you. Man. That's much better. It's not perfect, but it's much better. So the really good news, guys, is that I can go ahead and select that. Maybe. Was it going to let me? Use yeah, there it goes. My selection tool on the top. Tap my arrow. 3-finger swipe down. Copy and paste. And I can not only use that for this, and I want it to, there we go. But I can also, if I untap it and tap it again, 3-finger swipe again, copy and paste, I can use it for the inside of my O it's on magnetic. I can just use my 2 fingers to do the inside of my O. And you might want to actually do freeform. Just have a little bit more control. And then tap back onto your brush. Oh goodness, I didn't merge my layers. Tap back onto your brush and fill that in like that. I think it's a little bit too thick though. So I'm going to come back and do this again, making it a little bit bigger so that my lines in here are not quite as thick as they were the first time. I'm going to bring my, oh, and I did it again. I'm good at that. Something like that. So I can erase, I should have just done this in the first place. I just want my other O to look exactly the same as my first one. So I can just copy this whole thing. Copy and paste. That was my 3-finger swipe down again. And there we go. Okay. I think I want those letters to be a little bit bigger and or wider. So I'm going to go in, make sure all those are. I'm going to delete my guides here, my grid, and my airbrush circles. So I can come in here with my selection tool. If I have my good layer selected, I can come in with my selection tool, select each letter, and kind of play with the size and the spacing. I'm going to make that a little bit wider. And then it ran into my banner down here, so I just need to play with that again. Now I'll do the same thing for my O's, and maybe I can do them both at the same time. We'll see, at least for making them bigger, and then I can move it over after by selecting just this one now. I'm going to have to be careful because I got it kind of close over here. Move that over. And lastly, my D over here. And if I were not making this video, I'd probably, oh, you know what, that was too big. I would probably try these letters one more time just until I really liked them. My dogs they like to play fight. They're literally like siblings. So that's what you hear in the background if you hear it. Thor, Jasmine. And my O's need to move over just a tad. There we go. Okay, I'm liking that a lot better. And then I need to do, oh goodness, I still need to do my better. Y'all can make this video faster. Just speed that baby up. 1.5, 2. My voice will sound funny, but you'll get the point with the drawing. So I'm going to go to textures again, my grid, on a new layer. New layer, new layer, new layer. I'm going to kind of give myself some guidelines so that my letters are hopefully the right size. And it's going to be even more important down here because up at the top I was curving them, so it didn't matter as much. At the bottom I am not curving them, so I really need them to be the same number of squares, tall, wide, that kind of thing. So I'm going to just start, I think I'm going to start with my T. The good news is I have 2 T's and 2 E's, so really I'm only having to do 4 letters, not... Yep, go back to my mono weight brush. I'm only having to do 4 letters, not 6. So I'm going to start here. I think I want my letters to be about 2 grid boxes wide. This is painstaking process, but should be worth it at the end. And again, fill in your letter, and then select it, 3-finger swipe down, copy and paste, and if I change it to magnetic before I move it, then I can just slide it right over. Okay. So then I need to do an E. I want my spacing between letters to be about the same too. So, let's see, my T was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5 wide. So I want my E to be the same. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. That is 5.5, right? I can count, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.5. Yeah. Door. And then I wanted each of the widest parts of my letter to be 2. So that means here, but then I don't have to do the widest part. I don't have to do every part of the letter the same exact. I can do these more of like 1.5 on the sides if I want. These horizontal strokes. I use that quick line function a lot when I'm doing block lettering. You do want your lines to be really, really, really straight. Okay, now I'm going to go in and select that. Just the E. Do my arrow, 3-finger swipe down, copy and paste. It's on magnetic at the bottom, so I can just slide it over. And it looks like my lettering is just a little bit too big. I don't have quite enough room for my B and my R. So I'm going to go ahead and merge all those layers of my block lettering, select them using the arrow at the top, and then I do want to have them centered-ish. And then I'm going to actually decrease the size just a little bit by doing 2 fingers. And okay, I'm going to count how many grid blocks I have on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. About 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. About 7. So I need to move it over this way just a tad. Okay, so now I'm ready to do my R and my B. I am going to pause for just a second and go let my precious, precious puppies outside. My noisy, precious puppies. I hope you guys have pets too and understand the struggle. Okay, here we go. So, my R. Want it to be about 1.5 apart again. My height of my letters went down just a little bit when I changed the size to make it fit better. Let's see. And I still want the widest parts to be about 2 grids apart. I'm going to have to redo that part right there. and then bring in my curve at the top here. This letter might be like the letter D at the top, where it takes me a minute to get it going. Let's see. Yeah, that's fine. Turned out better than I thought it would. Okay, so then this might not work. I think it will though. If I select that and copy it for my B, it's got a lot of the same 3-finger swipe down, copy and paste, magnetic. It's got a lot of the same letter form. So I'm going to go in with my eraser and take away what's not the same. And even a little bit more, because I don't want any of that to be. I really need a really good edge here. Okay, and then from the bottom, yeah, I think that'll work. Not big enough. I'm trying to make it the same-ish as the one on the top. Not big enough. Now too big. Now go a weird curve. Okay, I'm just going to see how that looks. I'm going to just go with it. The video's getting long already. Time flies. So I'm going to now turn off my sketch layers and my grid. And I am going to merge to where I have all my betters together. What's on this layer? Oh, I'm just going to get rid of my grid layer. And I need to do makes and everything. I've got good coffee and better. I think I'm going to do everything in script first. So on a new layer, I'm going to come up here, go to my Rad and Happy brush. That's the one that has the thick and thin for different pressures of your Apple Pencil. So we'll see. I'm going to have to change my brush size down a little bit, I think. It's still too big. Okay, I'm really close to the right size, so I'm just going to make it, I just need a tiny bit of space for the G. So I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, bring it over, and see how that works out. Everything. And then I need to just do my makes. So new layer, mono white brush. I'm going to do all caps but not block letters. So they'll be skinnier. And I'm going to make them try to curve and fit into all this space that I have. So they might be kind of funky because I'm going to have to use some space that I have. Am I good on spacing? I think so. And my S. I like straight lines. I like straight line letters. You can get perfect straight lines on here. Something like that. Okay, so that is the basic how we want it. Now we could play with this for another hour. Let me just quickly show you a couple things that are really cool to make your projects look that much more finished and polished. One thing is that we can go ahead and merge all these together. Now that we've got the spacing how we want it, merge all of that together. You know what? I still don't like that S. And my iPad's gonna die. There. Whatever. So we can, just really quickly, a couple things. We can duplicate that layer by swiping duplicate. And then this is called, this is going to give you a drop shadow really easily. So I'm going to, while I have my bottom layer selected, I'm going to go over to my adjustments, Gaussian blur, and I'm going to just bring it not very high. I'm going to swipe. I'm swiping on the screen right now. Do you see how the numbers are changing at the top? I don't want to go very high, but maybe around 10 or so, 9.8, whatever. And then while my top layer, I have that selected, I'm going to tap on the layer, select, go back to my bottom layer, tap it, and do clear. And so then, I don't know if you can tell, what that did was it created just an outline of what I had. And that, obviously you could use that for a lot of different things too, but we can also use that to, while I have my bottom layer selected, I can tap, I'm tapping on the bottom corner, and that just gives you a little bit of a drop shadow there. I really like that. And then we could also, on a new layer above everything, we could add in a little bit of detail by changing to white maybe. And then we can take any brush really. I could just take my mono weight brush, change the spacing, and then you could just add some details to your letters like that, and you'd have to play with them to get it exactly the way you wanted it. You get the idea though. You can, let's see, let me show you one last thing. You can also alpha lock your layer, which means if you tap alpha lock, then that means anything that I do now on that layer is only going to affect what I've already drawn, not the empty space around it. So I can do lines. I can do lines across. And you actually probably can't tell since it's white. If I went to another color, you could tell. It's not doing dots anywhere except for where I already have the lettering on there. I could also go back and change my spacing back to normal. What color could we pick? Maybe, I don't know, brown, because it's coffee. I could do stripes like that. That alpha lock is really cool. That is one thing that it's not just better about iPad, it's impossible really. I mean, to get these lines this quickly across all the letters lined up correctly. You can even, let's see, maybe I'll just do that with I'm going to delete that. Do that same thing on better and call it a day. Do you like it? I hope so. I hope that gave you some good ideas for how to create your own projects. And if you guys did like this, I hope you will subscribe to see all my future videos. I also have my blog linked in the description that you can go read some tips instead of watching them. I have different kinds of tips. I have some articles about some free Procreate brushes. I've got some free SVG files for you to use on t-shirts and mugs and things like that. And I hope that you guys